People love powerful women until those women refuse to play along and bow to pressure. This woman entered systems built on corruption, waste, and intimidation, and yet refused to bow to them. Her mother was kidnapped to silence her, yet she stood her ground, not quietly, temporarily, or timidly, but with a boldness that even a blind person could see. But first, we need to know who she was before her name echoed in chambers of financial authority. Madam Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala is an economist, a finance minister, the first woman and the first African to lead the World Trade Organization. Long before the world knew her name, before the international titles and the political battles, Madam Ngozi was simply a young Nigerian girl, growing up in the home where education, discipline, and service were taken seriously. She was born in Ogwashi Uku, Delta State, into a royal family. Her father was both a professor and a traditional ruler, and from an early age, she grew up surrounded by learning, structure, and leadership. Yet her childhood was also shaped by hardship. During the Nigerian Civil War, her family, like many others, experienced uncertainty and scarcity. Those experiences stayed with her and later influenced the way she understood poverty, governance, and survival. Even as a student, she stood out for her intelligence and determination. She attended school in Nigeria before earning admission into Harvard University, where she studied economics. She later gained a doctorate from Massachusetts Institute of Technology, what we know as MIT, at a time when very few Nigerian women occupied spaces like that internationally. She could have stayed abroad and lived comfortably, and honestly, nobody would have blamed her. But instead, she returned home. After building an impressive career at the World Bank, where she rose through the ranks into senior leadership, Madam Ngozi chose to still come back to Nigeria and serve in government. She was appointed as the finance minister, and that decision changed everything for her.
I guess I'm a risk taker and a masochist. Look at what is happening to world trade. Looks like whenever there's a tough job. I left a very nice job at the World Bank where I was managing director, the number 2 position, to go and be finance minister in my country, and eventually foreign minister, the first woman also. That was a risk. I could have just stayed where I was and having my salary. I took a 70 or 80% salary cut, left my family, went back home because we were living in Washington to go and do it. But what was the motivation? You have to ask yourself, what are you about? And I've always wanted to serve. I was brought up to know that service to others. You don't get educated just for yourself, but to serve others.
When she became finance minister, she walked into a system drowning in debts, corruption, and financial recklessness. Public funds disappeared easily. Accountability was weak. Powerful people benefited from confusion and disorder. For years, many Nigerians had stopped expecting things to improve. Then Madam Ngozi arrived with reforms.
And being finance minister is not, no one likes a finance minister, okay? No one likes you, not even your boss sometimes, because you have to say no. So it's not a fun job, but it's a job you're absolutely committed to and one that gives you policy levers to move the economy. And we did. We tripled the growth rate during the time I was in office.
And suddenly, people who were comfortable became uncomfortable. She pushed for transparency in government spending. She challenged for subsidy corruption. She worked to clean up public finance systems and negotiated historic debt relief that helped Nigeria clear billions of dollars in external debt. But every attempt to change a broken system created enemies. Criticisms followed her constantly. Political attacks, smear campaigns, resistance from people who wanted the old system to remain exactly as it was. But still, she continued. She clamped down, calm, focused, and unwilling to be intimidated by the noise. Then things became deeply personal. In 2012, during one of the most heated periods surrounding fuel subsidy reforms, her elderly mother was kidnapped. The message behind it was pretty clear: back down, stop pushing, stop challenging powerful interests, or face the consequences. It was no longer just political pressure, it metamorphosed into fear, intimidation, and emotional warfare. For many people, that would have been enough to break them, but Madam Ngozi did not publicly retreat from her position. Even in the midst of fear and uncertainty, she remained composed and continued carrying out her responsibilities. Her mother was eventually released, but the incident revealed the dangerous cost of confronting systems that profit from corruption. And that is truly what makes her a defiant queen. Not just the degrees or the titles, not even becoming the first African and first woman to lead the World Trade Organization as a director general, a position she still occupies till today. It is the fact that she kept walking into difficult spaces and demanding integrity where compromise would have been easier. And this is because real defiance is not always loud and extravagant. Sometimes it is discipline, other times it is remaining unshaken under pressure. Most times it is refusing to surrender even when the fight becomes personal. Kudos to our defiant queen. If you made it this far, I am pretty sure you like what we do here. So leave a comment, tell us what you know about Madam Ngozi Okonjo, and let us have these conversations and keep it going. Like this video, save, share to your friends. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.
So I considered it an honor and a privilege to be able to serve my country. That's why I went back